What's going on, people? This is Vision. There's a lot happening at this time, and since I got out of jail, I was supposed to be making this video. This video here is just got out of jail March 6, 2019, and as soon as I had gotten out of jail that day, this video was supposed to be posted, but I saw my profile. I went to go log on, and there was nothing on my profile. It was completely blank. And then I tried to post something, and nothing would show up. So right away, I knew it's like, okay, my profile's been hacked. The only ones that would be doing this is my enemies or the NorCal Masons, because they knew I was going to be making videos. They knew I was going to be making the video on just got out of jail. And so they knew I was, and I was going to detail, there was going to be a lot going on. There was going to be a lot of information on this vid that I'm going to make that I was supposed to post back on March 6th. But I couldn't because of my profile. So I had to make two of the videos. One of them had to make Please Watch, and had to make Please Watch Part 2, because those are crucial videos. You have to watch those videos, because those vids are going to tell you and bring you up on what's happening right now. It makes complete sense, everything. And when I was incarcerated, they didn't like that. They were trying to change it around. I got locked up on December 5th, 2018, and I was housed in Elmwood, building M4 D block. And when I was in there, everything was cool. I was in there for a while until I got transferred out. But before that happened, people were in there. They ended up knowing who I was. They were telling people, talking to people outside of jail. They had people outside that weren't incarcerated that they were talking. They were saying, that I'm not gay, and the NorCal Masons got word of that, and everything that was going on. It was showing that there was fake profiles. There is everything that they were doing to me is wrong. So what happened was they started working with an individual in there, the NorCal Masons, and what they wanted him to do was for him to get me jumped. So what happened was he was getting people in D block to fucking jump me. Either the NorCal Masons wanted him to do it, or they wanted a whole bunch of people. But it was because that I am not gay. But everybody knows that. Even before I got locked up, everybody knows that. They're just, right now, a lot of dudes are just jealous. And then they start getting upset and pissed off because of what's happening and stuff like that. It's like they're getting pissed off because, all this going on and what's happening to me, and then all these girls, and they don't like that. And because of a tragedy happened to me, the NorCal Masons, they don't like these girls on me. They don't like girls getting horny over me. My enemies don't like that either. So that's why all this is going on. So they started getting people, this person, and then I had to neutralize it. And this is in the month of December. I had to neutralize that, and there was a lot of drama that was prevented because of what's going on, because of my YouTube vids, because of my MySpace posts, so all those, and then I was up in there telling people I do MySpace, I do MySpace, that's what I do, and I do YouTube. So the NorCal Masons didn't like that. People started getting word out here that, those MySpace and the YouTube profiles were real. And then my enemy in the month of December was starting to twist and confuse the people on what I was talking about on my YouTube vids and stuff, you know, and post that I had on my MySpace profile. But going back to, you know, the situation when I was locked up, so this person ended up, I ended up neutralizing that whole drama that he was trying to start, and drama kind of slowed down. It stopped, and then it picked up again. And what happened was I got moved out of D Block, building M4, to A Block, building M4, for 10 hours. I think I got moved out around 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I was there for 10 hours. When I was in there, I got some info and stuff on who was the person that was starting the drama on me. And it turned out his name is Sam, and he's a child molester and stuff like that. From what I heard, he's been fighting this case for years, and he has like 47 accounts of child molestation. And the NorCal Masons were working with that person. And then I also heard in the month of December that that my enemy Heather, he admitted to the world on what he did to my life. He caused a tragedy. He also told the truth that we weren't friends, and everything like that. But Heather never came and apologized to me. He never came up. And the NorCal Masons, I mean, they play their games. They play their games on what they're doing, and then they'll hypnotize me. But in reality, Heather never post any apologies. He never put anything to show that, hey, or came up to me as a real man to apologize for what he did. He apologized to everybody else and what he did and everything like that, and telling people the truth and stuff. And then he committed suicide and stuff. This was in the month of December. And then they had this funeral and stuff. And then some drama went down in the funeral and stuff like that. And this was in the month of December and stuff that I heard, and towards the end of December and all this. But it goes to show who the NorCal Masons work with. They work with, child molesters, con artists, rapists, murderers. Those are the kind of people, and I'm none of that. And that's what the NorCal, and then the NorCal Masons are all trying to say, oh, well, they're nice people. And I mean, so it goes to show I'm a nice person, but they're pissing me off because they know that what's going on to me is a tragedy, and I'm pissed off because they're keeping up the tragedy. I said it on the hypnotism. And see, they get offended because because of my posts. But all my posts are real. That's why they did that. See, Heather's trying to say, oh no, don't hypnotize him and leave him alone and stuff. But that's what he's showing. In reality, he's actually telling the NorCal Masons, do that. Hypnotize him. Keep it going. Yeah. Keep them locked out. That's what Heather wants. But he's telling everybody no. And the NorCal Masons are trying to make it look like they're not doing these games, making fake profiles, using the mark of the beast on me, and all that stuff. They're trying to make it look like they're not doing that. And that's why they don't want me to make, they don't want people to believe the YouTube vids. They're going to do whatever it takes. They're working more. Ever since I got out, they've been working. Like I said, they planned it out. Premeditated, when I got out, this is what was going on, because they knew I was gonna make YouTube vids, because I even said it in there. And you know, the CEOs running their mouth, and I was like, watch, when I make the YouTube vids, and then I was telling people I did MySpace, and I post. That's why they had to block the MySpace. Well, you know, while I was in there, there was, you know, I had, you know, people who I celled with, they know too that I'm not gay. And there was also two NorCal Masons that are part of this drama that they had to go in there and stuff. And one of them's named John, the other one is named Brian. And I'm not cool with them. We're not cool. And let me tell you. So what happened was, so I was locked up December 5th all the way, and I was housed in M4D, stood all the way at M4D. Then I got transferred to M4A, and then from January 9th, 2019, they moved me over to the main jail. I got out of Elmwood, and they moved me over to main jail, and I was in main jail for, you know, it was cool. But the whole thing was, I was in main jail till the end of January. So pretty much the whole month of January I was in main jail. It's also, so where I was housed at was Second West, also known as the Snake Pits. And when I was in there was no drama at all. I had, you know, all of myself, everything. I was locked up with a bunch of nobodies. I was the only one using the phone and stuff. But going back to the month of December, you know, I was still, you know, I was doing graffiti writing, and I was, you know, thinking, and there was a lot of things that was going on. And you know, the month of December, I don't know, it was just, you know, there's a lot of thinking going on, and girls, their energies just ran through me, and I just felt them. And the girls that I was thinking about the most during the month of December was Kate Upton, Nicki Minaj, Candace Swampel, and Kourtney Kardashian. Yeah, so, and then the last 6 days before they moved me out to the Snake Pits on January 9th, I had picked up these two girls. They were just sitting there. And I was like, I had this girl right here, and this girl right here. And these two girls, they stood with me on my bunk, you know, because I don't like looking at dudes, and you know, I don't like, you know, having to just, you know, staring at a wall. You know what I mean? I'm gonna look at something. You know, these girls, everywhere I went, every cell I went, they were there. There was only one place where I didn't hang them up, but all of them, they got hung up. I even went to a cell with incels. But I heard my enemy, F-Scar, his weak, fraudulent, ignorant, idiot, whatever, goes and pays. He finds out that these girls are up on my wall, and he goes and pays money twice to sleep with this girl twice, pays money once, sleep with her twice. And this girl, he got into some drama with and stuff. And it's like, what the... I don't even know. I mean, would I like to meet those girls? Yes, I wouldn't mind meeting those girls. But if my enemy sleeps with them, it's like, I mean, what, because I had them on my wall first? Because when I moved into the Snake Pits, the only sneaky ones and the only conniving ones were the COs. And the COs, that's all they were doing was just talking and running their mouth. That's it. And that was pretty much, that was in the month of January. And the month of December, I ended up picking up those models. And then I had them on my wall. I had them right next to me. As soon as I slept, they would be there and stuff. But it was messed up. And then I heard there was a bunch of nobodies, so nobody knew what was going on while I was in the snake pits. So nobody knew anything. So I started getting information. I got a lot of information and everything while I was incarcerated. And the information I got when I was incarcerated was that, my enemy F-Scar, he was changing shit, like trying to confuse people again to like on a post that I threw my hand up in there. I meant, what the fuck? That's what I meant on that poster. So if you go my MySpace profile, you Google me, Leo Rubin MySpace, my pictures are still up. There's a post like this saying like, but that means what the fuck? Like, so he was saying, he's trying to say like, oh, well, he knows me and all this shit. He don't know me, because if he knew me, then he knew what that post would mean and stuff. But instead, he turned it as, what's up with that? It doesn't mean none of that. And so that post goes to show once again, he doesn't know me, and I don't know him. So as much as I don't know him, he don't know me. He might know of me, but he don't know me. He don't know nothing. He's not, me and him we're not in tune. We've never been in tune. We're not the same. There's no same about us. So I think the COs took pictures of those models up on my bunk, and then I started getting, and so I had to clear. So I was talking to my daughter, so I had to clear up what my enemy F-Scar, what he was trying to manipulate on my MySpace profile and my my YouTube and stuff. So those so those models, they stood with me. Everything was cool. I was it was cool in the snake pits and everything. And then I got out. So there was some drama that went on with the COs, but it got handled and everything, because the main sheriff, they found out what was going on, so they had to stop all that stuff and stuff. But like I said, there was 2 people that are part of this drama against me that were actually housed in the cells or in the areas where I was in. One of them was the snake pits, and I'm not cool with nobody. I just did my time and I got out. I met some people, and some people became cool and stuff, but if they ain't gonna keep in touch, I gave them my number. If they ain't gonna keep in touch, they ain't gonna call, well, then what am I gonna do? Anyways, so what happened was I stood there till the 31st of January, and in the snake pits, the main jail, and I got information that Heather, his death was fake. Everything he had, the fraudulent activity that was going on of the so his death was fake, and everything that was happening with the fraudulent activity, he was trying to get away from. He was trying to get away from all that. He was trying to get away from what he did to me, and he didn't want people to bother him on that. And so he did this fake death, and this is what I heard. I got the information in the snake pits, and then but from there, the NorCal Masons, they still kept working. See, when I was in there, the NorCal Masons were doing a whole bunch of stuff. They weren't just being out here and leaving me alone while I was locked up. No. I found out too that they were paying for milk. They had this contract with this milk that was going on. So I wasn't, and then they also paid for the food. They were doing this Wi-Fi food. So it can make things for people, whoever was out here, my enemies or the NorCal Masons, and what I was saying on MySpace, it could look like a lie. That's why they probably had to erase it, because I wasn't eating the food. I wasn't eating, the milk. I heard my enemy F-Scar, he was paying for some food and stuff. And, it was just messed up. I got all this information, some information in December, but the rest of it, I got it while I was in the snake pits in January. And I found out that Heather, he died, but it was a fake death and stuff like that. And then F-Scar, with that post and stuff, that meant like, what the fuck? Because they were saying I had a problem if people were following me during that time when I had posted, because I said I don't have a problem with gays. I just choose not to be gay. So meaning that, and that was like a response. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't have a problem with gays. I just choose not to be gay. So F-Scar was trying to, twist that up. And I had to correct that, because when I was incarcerated, I couldn't go online. So the only person I could talk to and try to help me out, because I was getting this information from outside that's coming in, was my daughter. So the only people who I talked to was my daughter the most. And then every once in a while, the kid's mother. And then maybe my mom like twice or 3 times. But the whole thing was, they also got some information that the NorCal Masons were going to use my recorded name to make fake phone calls. So I had to warn my daughter about that when I was in the snake pits and stuff like that. And I was in the snake pits, like I said, from January 9th, 2019 to January 31st, 2019. And like I said, the COs stopped everything, but when I was in there, that's all the COs would do. Like, they couldn't even work. They couldn't even do their job. That's all they would do, just talk about me. But when I was in M4D, that's all the inmates were doing, were talking about me. Everywhere I was going, if there was more inmates than COs, then the inmates would talk about me. And if there were more, if there were COs more, then the COs would talk about me. But, that drama that was going on, even in the snake pits, the hot water, they were using that Wi-Fi food, because they were sprinkling stuff in the hot water in the snake pits because of what was going on out here, not while I was incarcerated and stuff. But the month of January, I had girls on my mind, and once again, for some reason, Nicki Minaj, Candace. Now, Candace, it's like, I know we had this thing because of my clothes, but for some reason, I just had her on my mind. I was thinking about her. I even had a dream about her and stuff, and it wasn't no sexual dream. It was just a really deep dream and stuff. And then I was also thinking about Kourtney Kardashian, and for some reason, Ariana Grande. I know she was on my mind when I was in the month of January. Those were the girls that was running through my head. Could be a couple of days, could be hours, could be it was just whatever. They were just running through my mind for some reason. So after the 31st of January, I was taken out and then moved back to Elmwood, and then from there they housed me in a dorm setting where it was bunks, and I'm not supposed to do that. They're supposed to put me back in a cell living. So I was housed in building M2 D block, and I stood there till February 3rd, and stuff. But when I was in there, there was no drama that went on. It was just, I can't be in dorm setting because hypnotism goes on and stuff like that. And when I'm in cell, it's cool because I can control it. It's like no, I don't get hypnotized. I'm usually locked up with a bunch of nobodies and stuff, so it's cool. Like they don't know and stuff, so I feel comfortable. But anyways, if I have a feeling or I have a hunch, then I move out of that cell because they can't put me in a single cell. I got there at one point, but right now let me tell you what happened. So I was in M2 D block, and everybody was talking and everything, but there was no drama. Everything was cool and stuff like that. And when I was locked up, I had money on my books, so I was able to get commissary and eat, get buy the food from commissary and all that, and the food, so I had money on my books and everything, so it was cool. So, but another thing, I used to order because of food, and there was bland and stuff, the gel food that they were handing out too. So I would eat the mixture gel food and then the food I'd get with my books. But this is the item I used to get all the time. It was a hot sauce up in there. Because the hot sauce, I'd mix it with anything. I used to make tuna sandwiches. I put the hot sauce in it. I'd have soup. I'd put the hot sauce. Sometimes I'd put it on my chips. Sometimes, but not all the time. But it was mostly on my foods. The gel foods that was going on. Well, anyways, I had one day I was in building M2D, and I made myself some food and stuff. I'm gonna show you an example. I had so I had some food and stuff, something like this, and how I used to eat and whatever, my sauce. I used to pour, open it, and this is everything. I make sure I pour it all on the food first. Make sure I get all the sauce on the food and stuff. When I'm done, because I like this hot sauce. This is good hot sauce, right? When I'm done, there was some controversy going on. It was like, no. Because I bite down and I squeeze. But it's always when I finish pouring it on my food. I don't just finish a hot sauce like this. Some people do, but not me. I make sure it goes to my food, all my food. That's the whole reason why I bought these. So anyways, look, a little bit of hot sauce in there, whatever. So I grab it. All right. Squeeze it. That's it. All done. Light it. And it's the part where I open it up. The part that's open. Light it so it doesn't go all over the place. And then I squeeze it. And that's it. So there was a comment that was made, and I found out when I moved out of M2D. But anyways, while I was in there, it was a NorCal Red Mexican. Made a comment saying something about, something dry, and it's like, you know what? First of all, that's not how I eat my hot sauce. Second of all, person who thinks like that, their minds are twisted. Because then they're going to see a child. That's a mind of a rapist, a child molester. Those people who think like that, saying, oh yeah, because what if a child or somebody does finish a packet of hot sauce at Taco Bell or some kind of, maybe mustard or ketchup, whatever. Or say if they do pour it on their food, a packet of barbecue sauce or whatever, they pour it on their food, something, and then they do the same thing like what I do. They finish the rest because they like the flavor, right? So you're going to have some person out there walking around thinking that stuff, trying to input that in people's heads So it goes to show he's gonna look at somebody when he goes to a restaurant and see a child and think lustful thoughts. He's gonna see a girl doing that, and then he's that person who thinks like that, which is an ex Red Mexicam. He's gonna see a girl. He's gonna want to rape her because he thinks like that. Because that's what he's thinking. That's the kind of mentality those people, and they wanna. The NorCal Masons want to bring that type of mentality back. They want to bring that back. So kids that eat Go-Gurt, a guy who thinks like that, they're gonna see that, and they're gonna think these weird thoughts because oh yeah they finish it dry. Well, whatever. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, first of all, that person has a twisted mind. And second of all, I don't think like that. Because, first of all, I finish, but it's not like I finish it like that. I don't finish a whole packet of hot sauce. No, I pour it on my food first. Then I finish it. That's how it works. I mean, and you saw how it is. And then there was people who I was incarcerated in M2D, and they were saying, oh, well, they finish jelly like that, or they finish, they eat the rest of the jelly, or they'll eat the rest of the peanut butter or whatever. So those things, that's the kind of thinking I don't think. That's the kind of thinking that's the NorCal Red. That's who it was. It was an X. So it just goes to show the mentality's still there. Maybe the person's not with that anymore, but maybe he could be. I don't know. The whole thing is I got moved out. I got moved out on February 3rd because there was hypnotism going on, and I didn't like it. I put in the complaint as soon as I got in there that I can't do dorm living because of that. So February 3rd, they took me out, and then I was moved back to main jail again. This time it was in the towers, and I finally had my own cell. No drama, but the whole thing was I stood there till the 7th of February, and then I was taken out of main jail, and then they moved me back to Elmwood again. But this time, I guess the people who were in M4D, who was part of, because there was some drama that went on that was going to happen to me, because there was some NorCal Masons also locked up in there too in M4D. They started locking up some NorCal Masons. But anyways, what had happened was there was some drama that was going to go down too, and those people ended up getting out. There was some drama that went down, so most of those people left out of M4D. So I think they were able to house me back in there, because I got housed back in there, and I finished all my time there until March 6th, 2019. But during that time, when I was in M4D, it was cool. I was, I had did a piece on my cell that I was in there. I also found out too that they were, but I also did a throwy, well, kind of like a piece throwy, like a elaborate throwy, when I first got locked up in M4D and stuff, in my first cell where I was at. And when I got back, I got into a different cell, and then, because I did artwork, and then I did a lot of, just work, just whatever, like whatever I had to do, to keep the cell clean, to, how to write down stuff, get information, so I was doing stuff while I was in jail. It wasn't just, but I didn't like it because it backed me up with a lot of things that I had to do out here, and a lot of things that were happening out here, and I couldn't defend myself because what was robbed from me, what was taken away, not only my freedom, but what was, as far as not being able to use a computer, not being able to go online and stuff. But like I said, during that time, this was February. and it was it was all right. There was some drama that went down, some lightweight drama, but wasn't bad. When I went back to M4D, but the NorCal Masons, they stopped. No, I wasn't gonna get, that person, the child molester, he was there, but that drama all ceased. So when I came back in, it had to have been ceased or else I wouldn't have been able to stay in there. So everybody knew, so it was all cool. But I was getting information too that out here, outside of incarceration, the NorCal Masons were trying to make me look like a liar with fake pictures with me and my enemy Heather. I think when I was hypnotized, and then they also pulled the fake phone call that I got worried about when I was in the snake pits, and I told my daughter that the phone calls of me were fake because the NorCal Masons got pulled. They can make pull all day. They can do that stuff because that's how those people are, and they're gonna do what it takes. I've told that to people. They're gonna do what it takes, and when I mean do what it takes, they're gonna do everything. I recorded my name, and they're gonna use that to go and fool my daughter. Plus, I heard they blackmailed my kid's mother into saying some stuff, but the kids were saying, the Masons were saying that they had that if she doesn't do it, it's going to be bad on our kids. So they kind of had to blackmail her or something like that. But that's what I heard, So I haven't gotten second confirmation, but whenever I could, I'll find out. But I haven't asked around about it. There's a lot of other things that are on my mind right now. But the month of March, I didn't have anybody on my mind. I was just worried about getting out because I just had 6 days. On the 6th day, I was out in the morning time, but I just did 5 whole days. And then the 6th day in the morning time, I was out. But the month of February, I had girls on my mind, and it was, Candace Wampo once again, and then for some reason it was Kate Upton. And then Ariana Grande, once again, she's just, I don't know. I mean, these were girls that just, I wasn't doing anything. I would just sit down, I would also read it, and they would just start coming to my mind. These are the girls that, they have their own lives, they're doing their own thing. I'm not bothering them or nothing, but they just came to my mind. It was just, on Candace, and there was no hate with Candace when I was in there. It was just thinking about her, and then for some reason too, it was Tina Fey. I was like, and Tina Fey, I met her before, but what Tina Fey don't know, and what nobody knows is, I had a thing for Tina. I always, thought that Tina Fey was attractive ever since 2011 and stuff, and I never made that known on oh yeah, I have this thing for Tina Fey, because she has her own thing and everything like that. But no, Tina Fey, since I think it's 2011, or maybe at the end of 2010. I think it was the end of 2010, beginning of 2011. She's actually the longest girl that I've found attractive, next to Candace. So it'd be Tina Fey, and then Candace and stuff, but yeah, she was on my mind the month of February. So, anyways, so that was it. I was locked up for the total of 95 days. I was out on the 95th day. So, but yeah, the NorCal Masons, they didn't stop. They didn't stop doing what they didn't leave me alone. And up to now, making this video, they didn't leave me alone. It had to take me a month, or a little bit over a month since I got out, just to post this video, because of my profile is down and everything else is just, I have to make sure that people watch the other videos that I make first. Had to make, please watch, That's one. Had to make Please Watch Part 2. That's another. Please watch those vids. Those vids are very crucial. That's why I had to make those vids before I had to make this vid and stuff. And I might not delete those vids just to keep the memory on what happened and stuff. And since this one is gonna stay, and it's been long, and I told myself, okay, well, if I make the video on when I got out of jail, March 6, 2019, and they still haven't brought back my profile, well then those vids that I was gonna delete those vids on had to make Please Watch and stuff. So those vids too, they're not getting deleted and stuff. So those vids are crucial. You need to watch those vids. You need to understand that what they're still trying to do, and they're trying to make up. They just keep making up lies. As much as they're doing this, and my enemy F Scar is proven. It's proven that my vids on him on my YouTube channel are right. Remember, if you can't get to, if you go on my profile, always check, because it might come up, it might not. But you Google me, Leo Rubin MySpace. From there, there's a link to to this YouTube channel. It's right where the location, my city, San Jose, and it'll be right next to the profile song, right by my top 8s. It'll be right there, the link, the YouTube link. You click on it, and you'll find this channel. Now, this is the only thing I do. So it's just MySpace. If MySpace is down and gone, then it's YouTube, 100%. That's it. I haven't went to no other social media site, and I will not go to no other social media site until I get some word. And I have to do my investigations more. But remember, this channel, I'll be making more vids, so now I'm just going to be making more vids. Please watch all the vids on my YouTube channel. Look at the dates on when I post them too, because it's going to show how long they keep the drama. It's going to show that they just keep it up. When I was in jail, they were keeping it up, the NorCal Masons. They were paying off the milk, food, putting it in the hot water. All the correctional officers know about that in Elmwood and in Main Jail, on what they were doing with the food and what they were doing with the milk and what they were doing with everything else. They knew. Those correctional officers, they know. So, yeah. And now there's a lot happening, so please remember, Vision, Leo Rubin, YouTube channel, Leo Rubin MySpace. Google that, you'll find the MySpace. Or if you go to MySpace, you type in search, you type in Vision 594, you're gonna find you'll find me up there. All right, later, people.